Welcome back. Today we're going to finish my story of who am I and the experiences that have brought me to where I'm at in my life today. So I'm going to take you back to the year of 2017. At that point in my life, I had been in my career for about 18 years. We were pretty much a middle-class family. All 5 of our children had been born. And for about the past 6-7 years, I felt like we had kind of the ideal or the perfect family. And all of our children were healthy, our relationships were good, our children were doing well in school. So my outcomes that I was experiencing were consistent with the beliefs that I had that were driving my behavior. So I had this belief, again, that if parents did the right things in their home, that their children would make the right choices. But I was struggling with, I wanted to do more with my life. So I just felt like I could have a bigger impact, that there would be some way that I could reach more people. At this time in my life, I was working for the mental health system as a therapist. I had been part of a federal grant to make changes statewide in the state in which we lived. But I just still felt like there was something more, and I wanted to go out on my own and to do something. And I had looked at and tried different things throughout my life, but none of those things ever worked out. So about this time, I became involved in a mentoring program, and that mentoring program changed my life. It helped me understand at a deeper level that I am accountable for my life, and that truly I can achieve anything that I put my mind to if I want it bad enough. So as I was going through this experience, we then began to see some changes in our family. So our oldest daughter at that time began to make some changes in her life. So she started to become a little bit more defiant. She was dating a boy that neither her mom or I were really comfortable with, but we tried to be supportive of her. And she really began to struggle. And I, being a therapist, I thought that I had a really good relationship with my children. I believed that if there was something going on in their life, that they would come to me and they would share those things with me. But every time I would talk to my daughter, she would just say things were okay, and she just kind of wanted to be left alone. Well, it turns out that this boy she was dating was abusing her, and pretty seriously, but we didn't find out how seriously until about 2 years after this event, because our daughter still at the time felt like what was going on with her was about her, and she took on the responsibility of the behavior of this boy instead of realizing that what he was doing was about him and that it was inappropriate. Anyway, that set us on a journey that was unexpected, but which in hindsight provided me exactly what I needed to help me accomplish what it was that I wanted to accomplish in my life. As our daughter went through this experience and as we tried to get her help, I realized that those beliefs that I had had about the ability to keep children in the home at all times and to be able to help them in the home was a false belief. Our daughter really needed to be outside of the home and outside of the community in order to get the help and to get to a place that she needed to be at to make better choices moving forward in her life. That then set us on a journey to say, what can we do to help other young women that are in similar situations as our daughter was? And so as we went through that process of helping our daughter, we made a decision that we would do something as a family to help other young women that had been in abusive dating relationships. That led to the idea of us opening a residential treatment center or a private therapeutic school for teen girls. And really who we serve are any young women that have experienced trauma in their life, which is about most young women. And not just young women, it's all of us. All of us experience trauma in our life. That's part of this life experience. Anyway, as we decided to open this residential treatment center, that was a big and scary change for us, because I was leaving a, quote, secure job with the government that I had been with for about 19 years. And people that I worked with, when I told them that I was leaving to start our own business, most of them thought I was crazy to do so. And here was my experience in doing this, is when I focused on what we were wanting to accomplish and the difference that we wanted to make in the lives of young women and their families, I was excited. And my belief was strong that we could accomplish that goal and that dream. And then I would move forward. But if I ever began to doubt that we could accomplish that, or I focused on things that were happening in the economy or out in the world that would make me begin to question whether we could accomplish that, then fear would rise. And in me, when fear gets in the way, I tend to procrastinate and I tend to slow down and avoid things, because I have this belief that I can avoid failure by not taking action. It's a false belief. It actually oftentimes creates exactly what I don't want. But when we made the decision to do this, I quit my job. We mortgaged our house. I went to Tony, my wife, and I said, look, if we do this, we could lose everything. And she said, that's okay. I'm all in. And so we made the decision to do that and to move forward. As we did that, I experienced more growth in my life than I believe I had experienced at any time until then. You've heard the story of burning your boats, burning your ships. The story of the army that invaded the island, and when they got off the ships onto the island, the commander says, burn the boats. So there was no retreat. They either had to win or they would die. Well, we had put ourselves in a situation where we either had to win or we could lose everything. And what I learned through that experience was that I was a quitter. But I didn't consider myself a quitter. Every time there was something that I tried that I didn't follow through on, I just justified it or rationalized it or came up with some reason as to why it wasn't supposed to happen. But I wasn't a quitter. But in this situation, I couldn't quit. And time after time, we would get to a place where it didn't seem like there was anywhere else to go. And it seemed like that we would lose everything. But because I couldn't quit, we just kept going. And then magically, but here's the thing, it isn't magic. It's part of the laws that govern the world in which we live. Buckminster Fuller says, the universe responds always, but only in the nick of time. And so oftentimes we have a goal that we're trying to achieve and we move towards it and it doesn't look like it's going to happen, and we end up stopping or quitting, and so it doesn't happen. But if we would just push on through, the universe does respond and things do happen and answers come and opportunities come. Well, that was 11 years ago, and we're still in business, and I'm still alive, and I'm still talking. And there have been times over the past 11 years, the beginning 2 years for sure, we had a time in the middle of around year 6 that was very, very difficult and scary. But I remember after getting through those first difficult years of saying to people that during that time I had never felt more alive than in my life. But I'd also never been more scared than my entire life. And I would say, and I don't think I ever want to go there again. That's a belief, right? Seeing that scary time as scary rather than seeing it as exciting. It's that I have a belief that failure exists. And I have a belief that what happens if things don't work out the way that I think that they should work out. So I have this belief and desire to control things and for things to work out the way that I want them to work out. But again, what I have learned throughout my journey is that there are principles or laws that govern the world in which we live. Laws like gravity, but there are also laws that govern happiness and relationships and success. And those core foundational principles are accountability, choice, and control. And you can watch our other videos and learn more about those and how they operate. But I began to see how they operated in my own life. Well, that gets us to the end of 2017. And at the end of 2017, I had got to a place of being comfortable again. And I like that comfort place because I like to continue to believe the false belief or that illusion that I'm in control and that things will be the way they are and continue to get better. But I didn't want to rock the boat. And then I went to a workshop called Limitless with Chris Crone, and it shook me up. It got me out of the comfort zone and gave me the opportunity to think again about why I'm doing what I'm doing and what is it that I want to accomplish. Do I really want to live a life of safety and security and comfort, or do I want to make a difference in this world? And if I want to make a difference, I need to get uncomfortable, and I need to be willing to make hard choices, and I need to be willing to step into the dark and to trust that those things that I can see up here that are in my mind can and will be manifest out here. And that's how we create the life of our dreams. And so that's who I am. I'm a very normal, average person who has lots of fears and lots of false beliefs that have created the life that I have today. And I get excited when I learn new knowledge and information, and I get excited about applying it in my life. But the other thing that you need to know about me is I'm not real good at applying what I know or what I think I know. So change is hard, and that resistance to change is hard. And I'm hoping that what happens over the next year as I share my experience with you is that you will be able to relate with me. You'll find the things that get in the way of your life, that keep you from living the life that you love, the life of your dreams. And my experience hopefully will give you the courage and the belief in yourself to step out into the dark and to do the things that you really have a desire to do and to create the life of your dreams. Thanks for watching today. You now know a little bit more about who I am. Watch our next video, and in that you'll see the goals that I have set for 2019. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and visit our website, and follow me on LinkedIn if you're watching there.